G'day guys, my name is Wallatards. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for following my content. I do appreciate it. If you would like to buy me an instant coffee, hit the join button down below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada. So this is gonna be a ranty video, and if you don't want to watch it, just hit the like button and let me know what you think about the game and close the video. But yeah, this is gonna be a ranty one, and I don't know what to say. I was up all night watching this garbage. This is by far the worst performance by the Wallabies in 2021. Even the games against the All Blacks that the Wallabies had was destroyed with bigger scoreline. The Wallabies were able to score tries, maybe at least one try in some of those games, and able to put up good fight, good team cohesion. Some mistakes that was made against the All Blacks back then, and obviously the All Blacks were very, very talented, clinical, surgically good, especially at home. So I don't blame the Wallabies too much. I mean, it was bad, but like this game is absolutely atrocious. If you haven't watched this game, don't bother. Don't even watch the highlights, because literally this was not even worth watching the highlights. It's just woeful Wallabies. Drop balls everywhere. And like the team just had no cohesion. Like everybody on the field doesn't seem to know what they're supposed to be doing. And like literally passes going to the ground. Nobody's there to catch the passes. Penalties everywhere. Just giving away penalties freaking everywhere. It was awful. And on top of all of that, England was not very good this game, to be fair. Eddie Jones shuffled the team around, and it's pretty obvious that England is trying a lot of their new combinations. They had Marcus Smith wearing the number 10 jersey, but he was playing at 12 a lot of the times. So it's pretty obvious. I know Eddie Jones would do that, and it's obvious that Eddie Jones is trying that, having Marcus at 12 and Owen Farrell at 10. In fact, the first try for England was precisely that combination. Marcus 12 was playing, Marcus Smith was at 12, and he set up a beautiful try. Only 7 minutes into the first half. So, and then England kind of went on like a massive low. There were a lot of drop balls from England as well. But at least England were attacking, were putting pressure on Australia. And Australia for the whole game didn't even look like they could get close to scoring. Like, despite the fact that England was like 1 point in front at half time because of the amount of penalty kicks that Australia were able to stay in touch, it didn't look at all like England was going to lose this one. And it didn't look at all like Australia is going to score. And sure enough, this was just pretty horrendous to watch. By far the worst. And, I have some thoughts about what's been happening in the Wallabies camp. I wanted to kind of like just get out of the chest. Let's talk about the positives. Let's start with like maybe England. So actually the positives. Ollie Hoskins gets his debut for Australia today. During the national anthems, he was getting like he was like crying in tears, and watching him getting all teary, I got a bit teary as well, to be honest. I thought it was a pretty proud moment for him. England had a bit of COVID issues, so England lost their preferred starting loosehead in Genge, and then basically England had to debut a brand new loose head prop at the starting position. But Australia also had 2 concussion issues for their tight heads, so Australia had to play James Slipper on the loose head, and the scrummaging was pretty bad for both teams in that regards. 50-50. England was probably a little bit better than Australia overall, and Australia did able to get a bit of penalties here and there as well. England also looked a bit like confused on the field, a lot of the players, maybe because the shuffling with the positioning. It did look like Eddie Jones was trying different combinations on the field. Marcus Smith was definitely playing at 12 at some point and linking up. Sometimes when they do link up with the Farrell, they look pretty good. But a lot of times, it just seems to be like a mixture of what nobody seems to know what's happening on the England side as well. So England had a pretty average performance, and Wallabies were, absolutely woeful. Jamie George had a pretty good game, in my opinion. He had a nice, brilliant run through a huge gap, almost scoring a try. And then there was England... set piece, a rolling maul. Jamie George was, the recipient of the ball at the back of the maul. He takes a run and gets knocked on in goal by Nick White. Little bit of sneaky hand, knocked the ball out. So that was pretty good. So Jamie George was, show that he's deserving of an England spot after being dropped essentially earlier a few months ago, or like a month ago or something. So yeah, the Wallabies. This is the worst performance in 2021 by far. They lost to basically a team that's not a pretty average performance from an England team as well. So they lost to England as well. It's pretty bad. So I think the biggest issue for the Wallabies is there was no team cohesion. No one seems to know what they're supposed to be doing. Everybody, there was like no gel in the team. It was just like 15 players with everybody's doing their own things. Hunter Paisami seems to be probably one of the standout players in the Wallabies team. Good hard running, being able to breach some, just do what he's supposed to do. Just good hard running, good hard tackling. And then everybody else seems to be just a bit lost. Even the players that did play well, like Len Ikitau had a poor game. Michael Hooper had a pretty average game. I saw giving away quite a few penalties. And yeah, just a lack of overall cohesion in the team. Maybe my theory is obviously the fact that the Wallabies has brought in a lot of these overseas players like Curly Beale, Rory Arnold, and Will Skelton. That could be a big issue here. Like, all these players has only been in the squad for like 2-3 weeks, and they've been having starting positions. I genuinely don't know what the hell is going on in the Wallabies side. Like, why is Curly Beale getting a starting spot? His performance last week was horrendous against Scotland. With the 15 minutes on the field, he got turned over twice, I think, at least once. So he's not even like international leveled anymore. Why is he getting a starting spot over any of the young talents that we have in the Wallaby side? Somebody actually reminded me in the comment section that we actually had Dagunu in the team. Why isn't Dagunu on the field? Why isn't he getting a run? What the freak is going on? Why is Matt Phillip, someone who's been doing so well for the Wallabies against the Springboks, is not getting a start? Like the scrummaging is atrocious with Will Skelton and Rory Arnold in the locks. Why are they still here? Like, why are they not getting benched or getting dropped? This was atrocious. I just genuinely, like, is this seriously one of those things where you promise these players a paycheck as one of the terms and conditions for them to join the team? Is that what you had to do, to literally bribe them with test caps to get them to join the team? Because if that's the case, thank you, I don't want them. I'd rather you have a newcomer like, anybody from the Wallatards developmental camp who lost every match this year to be in the squad than you paying this atrocious foreign like expats that have no cohesion and a bunch of no-hearts. Like, I remember, the only thing that reminded me with this game is why nobody watched this rugby anymore in Australia. Because people like these Curly Beale and Rory Arnold was atrocious in the last few years. And they have no heart on the field. They're just there to collect a bloody paycheck. And it showed. This player just on the field to collect a bloody paycheck. No heart whatsoever. Just ticking the boxes. There's no any sign of trying to fight back. Just woeful. This just has to be a joke at this point. And all I can think of is how atrocious these people were in 2017, 2018, and 2019. That's all I can remember. Why they left the country. Because they were pretty atrocious. And it's just unbelievable. The Wallabies were giving out penalties like business cards. Like, just mounting penalties to the England team. And England was giving away penalties also. And it was almost like the Wallabies just went, we can't actually, we can't let England outdo us on the amount of penalties given away. Let's just give away penalties everywhere, left and right. What the hell? I don't know what the hell is going on. It was literally like watching amateurs on the field playing against England at Twickenham. Seriously, it's just atrocious. Let's have a look at the match stats. There's not much to talk about. This is an atrocious match. 402 meters, run minutes to 262. 13 turnovers conceded to 12. So England wasn't even that great at the breakdown. 71 4 tackles, 18 losses, missed tackles. England was worse. 51 tackles, 20 missed tackles, but England didn't really have to make that many tackles because Australia was just throwing the ball on the ground. So England was atrocious already, and Australia just made it like didn't even have try, didn't even make an attempt. Kicking game got completely out-kicked by the England team, right? England missed one conversion by Owen Farrell, a little bit uncharacteristic. 5 out of 5 for James O'Connor. So James O'Connor did improve his kicking, so he did actually step up, and I just don't know, like, lineouts, 3 lost for Australia, 2 for England, so not great for England, but it's atrocious for Australia. Scrums, 2 losses for England, but that was just like penalties that given away. But Australia also had scrum issues. It's not like they haven't lost any of their own feed, but they were just under huge pressure, getting like screwed left and right whenever England's basically every time there was a scrum packing down basically. Here's the big thing. 18 penalties conceded. Double the penalty count over England and 2 yellow cards. And I think pretty sure both of them are high tackles. Okay? So I don't know what's going on here. Like, do these guys just like 2 yellow cards due to high tackles? Oh, and by the way, England wasn't able to score despite having 2 yellow cards. So England was really poor. Yeah, so this was, I don't know. This was a poor game to watch. If you didn't wake up at 4 o'clock to watch this, don't even bother watching the replay. Just unsubscribe from Stan Sport and save yourself some money. It's just like not worth it. This is just not worth it. Like watching these atrocious players coming back to play, like the Curly Bill was just atrocious. Why did he get another start? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'd rather have like Ollie Hoskins getting a shot because at least he's new. Okay, yeah, he has an excuse. Curly Bill, what's your excuse for not able to play to like the bare minimum of international standard of rugby? I don't know. You tell me. This was atrocious. Like the players coming off the bench couldn't like there was no cohesion in the team whatsoever. It was just like this was by far the worst performance by the Wallabies this year. Even worse than even worse than the games against the All Blacks, because at least the All Blacks were clinically good. England was atrocious, and we still lost. But anyway, 2 tries were scored in this game. England set up a pretty nice try right from the get-go, and it looked really, really good for England. England basically had Farrell at 10, receiving the ball inside the Australian 22. He passed the ball to Marcus Smith. Immediately, he showed off why people think he's the future for England rugby. He gets the ball, sees the defender coming up, bit of a double pump, draws 2 defenders in from the little, basically draws the defense in, throws the pass to his outside man. Stewart gets the ball. Is it Stewart? Yeah, Freddie Stewart gets the ball. Nice inside ball, massive gap opened up, runs in for a try, quite easy. And finally, on the dying minute, the England was able to pull away in the last minute of the game, basically. England substitution, Sam Simmons being overlooked by England, by Eddie Jones quite a lot. So Eddie Jones, in fact, Eddie Jones dropped him earlier this week before he was called back in due to like injuries and COVID issues or whatever. So Sam Simmons comes on the field like in the last 5 minutes. Huge like applause by the English crowd, by the Twickenham crowd. And he gets the ball. Literally, the first time he gets the ball, he makes a nice break and just cracks the Australian defense and sets up a try for his teammate. What's his name? Blamier. Is it Blamier? Jamie Blamier at 16. So immediately he sets up a try for England to close off the game. But overall, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. There was a bunch of penalty kicks for O'Connor, which was pretty good. He got 100%. 5 penalties, 5 out of 5. And then basically, as you can see, Australia pretty much did nothing in the second half. After the 42nd minute, pretty much nothing happened for Australia. And then just been giving away penalties. And like in the second half, it was literally like watching amateurs, like boy being thrown to the ground. Like I've seen the Wallatards play better than this. Literally like ball thrown to the ground, like just rolls on the ground, like nobody was its catch. In the Australian team, like yeah. Anyway, England pretty consistent, being able to capitalize most of the penalty kicks except for one. Owen Farrell missed one. But yeah, I don't know what to say. If next week, by the way, these idiots, Rory Arnold, especially Curly Beale, he was atrocious, and Will Skelton gets another shot over Matt Phillip. If Matt Phillip don't play next week and Curly Bill gets to start at 15 again, I am not watching. Okay? And you shouldn't watch too. Get a refund on your Stan Sport for... Can you actually get a refund for like literally misleading? This is not international rugby, right? Like, you promised me international rugby. This is not international rugby. I'm watching a bunch of amateurs throwing the ball to the bloody ground. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you did have the unfortunate, if you were unfortunate enough to wake up and watch this and witness this atrocity, let me know in the comments down below. I feel your sympathy. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you guys a bit later next week for the news. Cheers.